Hey everybody, Doug A798 here. This is my review of the cable channel Nicktoons Nicktoons Network, which is the sister channel to Nickelodeon, and I must say Nicktoons Network, in my opinion, is one of the best animated kids television channels of all time. It's second to only The Hub and Boomerang, in my opinion, but it's an awesome TV channel, and it's way better than the main channels Nickelodeon and their other sister channel Teen Nick. Nicktoons Network. What I love about Nicktoons Network is that they have this new prime time action action themed tsunami like net night like network, only instead of all action cartoons, you have comedy cartoons. I love the bumpers, I love the Nickelodeon, I love the Nicktoons logo, and I love the live action segments with the artists of the various animated series that aired on Nickelodeon. Now let's get to the programming. Then I'm gonna get to what I don't like about the channel. The programming. Of course, from programming, you have reruns of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Huge fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I became a casual goer of it in 2005, and as I watched more and more, I started to become a huge fan of it, and I've been a huge fan ever since. Legend of Korra. Like I said, I had my doubts about that show when it was announced, and when I saw the trailers, I thought it was gonna suck. But then I watched it, and while not being as good as the original Avatar: The Last Airbender series, Legend of Korra was an awesome follow-up series and an awesome show for Nickelodeon today. They all, yeah, like I said, they have reruns of Legend of Korra. Then of course they have Kung Fu Panda, the only premiering show on Nicktoons network. Everything else is reruns. One of the only premiering shows on Nicktoons network, at least that I care about. Then of course they have Power Rangers Mega reruns of Power Rangers Mega Force and reruns of Power Rangers Samurai and the follow up to that, Power Rangers Super Samurai. Been a huge fan of the Power Rangers for a long time. I enjoyed the Power Rangers up until that what was that show called again? Power Rangers Mystic Force. I didn't like the theme of that show. I still watched it from time to time, but I didn't like the theme of that. I didn't like the theme of that show, and I didn't like the theme song of that show. As a Power Ranger show, you gotta have a cool theme song, and I really didn't like those Disney ones that came afterwards, like Overdrive and stuff. And what was the other one called? Jungle Fury? I don't remember, but I didn't like those. But when Saban Brands reacquired the license to Power Rangers and brought it back as Super Samurai, I was even able to look. You don't know how excited I was that show came back. I even overlooked the flaws, which was the bad acting, some of the bad acting, and well, that's the only problem I had with some of the bad acting. The story, in my opinion, was pretty good, and I enjoyed this, and I love the sequel, Mega Force, an awesome sequel, and I can't wait to the follow-up series to that. So yeah, really happy that Power Rangers is back on what's its name. Then of course they have reruns of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 series. Like I said, in my animated TMMT reviews, I had my doubts about this show. I didn't like the animation. I didn't like the animation. I didn't like the animation or the character designs. But then when I started watching it, I laughed my butt off. I had not had that much fun with a cartoon in a long time, and this was an awesome remake of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It has the seriousness and violence of the 2003 series, and the hilarious and the comedy and hilarity of the 80s cartoon. They took elements from both shows to create this new awesome show, and this is one of my favorite shows on TV today. And this is just a really awesome show. I love the Teenage Mutant Turtles 2012 series. Then of course you have reruns of Back at the Barnyard. Never watched the movie, but I've been a fan of the Back of the Barnyard show since 2008. Then of course you have reruns of Oh Yeah cartoons. I've always enjoyed Oh Yeah I've always enjoyed Oh Yeah cartoons. My favorites being the Mona the Vampire cartoon, which was a cartoon which also had a pilot on the What a Cartoon Show, and the earlier episodes of the Fairly Odd parents. The only thing I don't like about Oh Yeah cartoons is that they gave birth to that fanboy and chum chum crap. Um then of course you have then of course next you have reruns of Invader Zim. I love that show. It sucks that that show was canceled back in 2001. It sucks that that show didn't become good like Fairly Odd Parents, which also premiered around that same time. But that was an awesome show, and I'm glad to see it in reruns here. Um, then of course you got what's the other show called again? Then of course you got I haven't been watching this show, but you have that NFL I keep forget that football show. I keep forgetting what that show is called. That football show looks pretty cool. I haven't watched it yet. Then of course you have Digimon and Monsuno. Haven't been watching Monsuno. Been watching Digimon, and of course you have Yu-Gi-Oh. So pretty much, people, programming wise, Nicktoons. Nicktoons is awesome. Now here's what I don't like about Nicktoons. Tough Puppy. I love Tough Puppy. That's a good cartoon. But I much rather see that on the main channel, Nickelodeon. I'm sick of seeing it on Nicktoons. Main reason I'm sick of seeing Tough Puppy, which is an awesome cartoon, is I'm just sick of Butch Hartman. Which brings me to my next problem, Fairly Odd Parents. In my opinion, that show just needs to end already. I love watching the earlier episodes, but that show has been going on way too long, and I'm just sick of seeing. I'm just sick of seeing it. Sick of seeing it. Next problem I have is SpongeBob. I'm sick of SpongeBob being all over the channel. Like once again, earlier seasons before the main creator left the show were awesome, but I'm just sick of Nickelodeon being about SpongeBob. Then another thing I don't like is that while I like that Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh return, I much rather those shows be on the Vortex than Nickelodeon. I didn't like Dragon Ball Z Kai on Nickelodeon either. I put up with GT because GT wasn't that popular, but I hated how Nickelodeon cared more about anime, old animes over their own cartoons just to get some views. I hated that. I'm glad Dragon Ball Z Kai is not on there no more, but I hated that they were showing that they had that more being more important than their own shows, and they're doing it now with Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon, and and the last thing I don't like is I didn't like how they canceled Voltron Force. I thought that was an awesome American remake of the Japanese anime Voltron. I mean remake sequel. I thought that was awesome. They just canceled it after I think it was 26 episodes. I thought that sucked. I thought that sucked. In my opinion, they need to feature Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomes. They're starting to, but they need to feature that show more often. I hate how that show went on a huge hiatus before finally getting new episodes. Another thing I don't like about Nicktoons Network, shows like Planet Sheen, Fanboy and Chum Chum, and what's the other show called again? Robot and Monster. In my opinion, those shows are absolutely garbage. They need to go. Planet Sheen, just like Ben the Looney said, a show about Sheen sucks. Spin-offs are usually never good, and in this case, it really isn't good because Sheen is just too. He's just too annoying and too much of a geek of a character to be a main character of a series. He was annoying in Neutron, but he wasn't the main character in Neutron, and there were other characters, but in this show, she's stuck on another planet. The only thing I like about the show is this catchy theme song. Then, of course, next show is Fanboy and Chum Chum, the worst show of all time. This show made me quit watching Nickelodeon. The animation is bad, the voice acting is bad, the story is bad. Everything about this show is bad. Everything about this show is bad. The theme song is terrible. That is one of the worst theme songs I've ever heard. Then of course the last show, Robot and Monster. I saw this show. This is from the same creators of Fanboy and Chum Chum, and this show, the story is weak, and this show is just bland, and it's just boring. The only thing I like about this show is its theme song, and also I don't like CGI animation. Well, this was my review of Nicktoons. I'm gonna do Nickelodeon, Boomerang, and Teen Nick next. All right, Dug out.